Hello again. I'm Mary Esther Edwards, and it's my pleasure to narrate the next segment, Celebrating Our Youth. Throughout the OTOK initiative, we have stressed the importance of voice, whether it be from a professional, administrator, community member, parent, or youth. Research continues to show that incorporating youth within a youth-governed field is vital. As many of us know, the juvenile justice system is only involved in the youth's life for a short amount of time compared to the rest of their lives. Unfortunately, research indicates that the interruption of the juvenile criminal justice system within a youth's life has a tremendous impact on them, changing their life's trajectory. Not only are the youth's lives changed, but so are their parents and their guardians. Knowing this, it is vital to understand the youth's perspective and hear their voice. This segment was put together with the help of Kelly Grant and Mackenzie Zimmerman. I had the pleasure of interviewing 3 young men whom have been affected by the criminal justice system in one way or another. I am forever grateful for their willingness to open up and to participate in sharing their voice with us. Thank you. The segment will open up with an I Am poem written by Helena, a 15-year-old young lady. An I Am poem is a structure for writing about yourself. The poem is filled with insight, feelings, and observation one has. Before the segment starts, I ask that everyone please be clear from distraction and really listen to what our youth are saying.
I am kind and special. I wonder about the future. I hear laughter. I see something beautiful. I want to be successful. I am kind and special. I pretend I am surrounded by friends. I feel the tickle of feathers. I touch my dead fish. I worry about humanity. I cry for the problems in the world. I am kind and special. I understand everybody is different. I say youth is the future. I dream to end suffering. I try to do my best. I hope others understand their impact. I am kind and special.
What 3 words best describe you?
I would say that I am very compassionate, hardworking, and caring.
Probably like creative, introspective, and I guess like generally quiet, like before I know people.
Joyful, musical, broad.
What is your greatest strength?
I think my greatest strength is my ability to work with other people. I'm very good at team building and leading.
Music.
Probably my creativity. I mean, it's it's the thing I'm most proud of with myself. It's what I want to use for my career. I want to do art for a living.
So we all face challenges in our daily life. What would you say is the top 2 challenges that you've faced so far?
I would say I did IB freshman and sophomore year. It's like a college prep program sort of, and it just makes your high school super difficult. And I knew I had the ability to do it, but I didn't have the motivation, and so I eventually had to drop out of that, and I switched to AP classes instead, which I found to be a lot more helpful for me. But those for 2 years in IB, it was definitely a real struggle in making the decision that this isn't for me. That was a big decision to make. Second one, probably growing up with just my mom. The 3 of us really had to tough it out. We were living in poverty. The 3 of us, we really had to stick together and get through the tough times.
Grief and scheduling things.
I guess these are probably both fall into mental health, but I'm using for 2 different things. ADHD and depression are both things that impacted me in learning and just growing up, especially ADHD from when I was in elementary school, but basically all the way up to high school. And it got the last years have been fine, but freshman year and sophomore year were kind of hard, I think, because that in middle school was too.
How have you handled those challenges?
So with IB, I really had to take inventory of like what decisions I was making for myself and like which ones I was making because I thought I should. Like IBs was the thing you're supposed to do for kids like me, and it was the thing you do when you get into college and you get all these scholarships and they make it sound so good. But then when I was in it, I was just like thinking, I'm not enjoying this. I don't really know how much this will help me in the long run. Is this something that's really important for me? And I had to think about it for a long time before I really decided, this isn't helping me for what I need to do. I had to just make a decision to be more focused on myself instead of doing what the counselors say and instead of doing what I'm supposed to do, doing what I need to do for myself. And then growing up, the three of us, my mom handled most of the hard work, of course, but a lot of just bonding. You got to know that those two, my mom and my brother, the two people who've always been there. So just knowing that you're not alone, you got those people with you all the time, trying to keep a positive outlook, knowing it'll get better someday. And it has. It is better now.
I go to my brother for dealing with my mom, and I go to my dad with scheduling things.
Mostly just like therapy and medication. For a while, in 5th grade, I quit my ADHD medication, which actually set me back a lot for a few years. But then I ended up talking to a doctor and got put on, I think I tried 1 or 2 medications before I found something that worked for me. And that one didn't really require that much like therapy or like at school stuff. Like I didn't need like a counselor or any sort of like thing for like learning disability type of thing. With like being depressed, I talked to therapists for a really long time, and I got help with that, and just like talking to people. That's how I dealt with that.
So what advice would you give to others if they're facing these same challenges?
Like I said, keep what's important for yourself in mind. A lot of times as a kid, you're told what to do a lot of the times, and you're not always given the chance to speak your own mind, but when you do have those chances, you have to take them.
I would tell them that it's going to be okay. In 5 years, it's not going to be the same situation. You're going to look at it differently. It's not going to affect you as hard as it does now.
Like for ADHD, try to like find something that works for you, and like know like how like you learn and how you can get stuff done, because if you don't, it's very hard to do anything. Because like for me, I know I'm not very good with like studying or like paying attention for stuff, so I need to like figure out a way to retain information, because if I don't know like how I'm good at that I can't learn anything, I can't be successful in school. And then if you're just like struggling with mental health stuff in general, talking to people is really the only way to fix it, in my opinion. Like that's something you can't do by yourself.
What is the one thing you wish people could know about you?
I try to show everyone that I care about them, I would say. Like, even if people don't meet me, I try to make it very obvious as soon as they do know who I am, that I'm there for everybody. I just try to be super supportive, just try and let everyone know I'm there.
One thing I wish people could know about me is that I am writing music currently. So
a lot of people do know, but like I wish that like more people like saw me as like an artist instead of someone that just like does music, because like I feel like being a musician, being an artist are two different things, and I feel like I'm both, but I'd like to be seen more as an artist, because I do intentionally like some of my music, it's more like sound design, so I actually have to like design stuff, and it's almost like creating art pieces. And I wish that's something that like people maybe took a little bit more seriously and like saw me as.
So as adult, we continue to try and grow all the time. What advice would you give an adult who is trying to help another one of your peers?
For the adults, the advice I'd be is just remember that the kids' lives are sometimes just as hard. Like a lot of the adults forget by the time that they're adults that what being a kid was still just as challenging. So, being a kid obviously my life might be a little bit easier, but we still have a lot of our own challenges to face. For someone like me, I guess the advice I'd give is just try to never give up. You know, like, I know saying it gets better is so outplayed, but it really does. Try to keep your head up, get through the hard times until there's good ones.
Advice I would give is that we are just more complicated nowadays. So just be more open to different things, be more open-minded when like talking or doing something with them.
Mostly just like be patient. Like, if, like, for me, I feel like a lot of the time I can get like really frustrated with stuff if I don't understand it, or if I'm not sure how to process something. I can get like very agitated and not want to talk to people, and I just need space sometimes. So just like being patient and giving people space if they're like me, and then also just like understanding like their creativity and like fostering that, so like they don't feel like they have to do something else that like they know they don't necessarily like. Because like for a while, like my mom, I think she really didn't expect me to want to like do music and like do what I do now, but after a while she sort of like got it and like helped me get stuff I needed like to be able to pursue that, so that really helped.
What does resiliency mean to you in your life?
Kind of like I just said, getting through the hard times until you can have a good one. Just remembering you're not alone is a really important thing. Like, sometimes when you get down, you just think you're the only one, no one cares, but you gotta remember those people who are really there for you, your family, your best friends. Using them to get through the struggles. Try to turn your energy into a positive impact. Like, if you're like having a rough time, you don't want to do anything, but trying to have some kind of activity that engages you with people. Like, I do orchestra and theater, so having a lot of social interaction can really help. Just try to turn your energy into something good instead of just beating yourself down.
It means like, well, I've been put through way more than a lot of people should. So I use that in a good way, as in I can take a little bit more. I can take a few blows. I can take a few hits to my armor. I use that as an armor, so I can just keep going through the day without having a break.
I don't know, I guess like in just like a very basic way, like being strong, being able to get through something without I don't know, like breaking down, I guess, like being able to get through difficult situations and learn and grow from it.
How have your activities promoted resiliency in your life?
One thing orchestra has taught me a lot about is like being a leader, and like, because being at the front of the stand, you have to work hard, you have to practice, you have to show other people that you're dedicated, and being forced to have go and interact with people, have social, have that kind of social space is really nice. It gives you something to do inside school and out of school. Like, it gives you friends, people to talk to. You go home, you got music to work on. It really keeps you busy. I think that's also something that's important, is keeping your mind active.
Writing songs or just playing music in general on my guitar, it helps get me through the day without blowing up on somebody or just completely exploding and just going into a ball of fire.
I guess with my activities, like with some of the challenges I talked about earlier, I use like my art to sort of like process that and like deal with that. So like if I make something when I'm feeling a particular way, like if I'm feeling depressed and I make something, I can listen back to it later and like sort of like process my feelings, or know that like it's okay to like feel like that, and there's a way to get through it.
How has the pandemic affected you?
Well, school closed, so that was a pretty big thing for me. I haven't gone to school in forever. Not being able to see my friends, definitely, it's weird, like we're so used to just doing our lives every day, and then all of that is gone all of a sudden. So it's definitely been very strange. I don't know, just been trying different ways to pass the time, I guess. I think anytime you know someone is struggling, just trying to show them that you're there in any sort of way, a little letter or a gift or anything small, even if it's little, to that person, it's going to mean a lot. So just, I don't know, any little thing you can try and do to just show that person you're there for them. That's all you can do, really. Because if someone doesn't want to accept the help, they can't, or they won't, but as long as you show them you're willing to, then that can make a big impact by itself.
I work in my church and we're doing like streaming now and stuff, so I have to go there every Sunday. And this is kind of just like a story before I get into what I'm actually going to say. But I heard some adults who are teachers, two of the choir director there and one of the singers, both have like students and they're kind of talking about this. And I didn't stop to say anything to them then, but I was thinking about it and just like, don't be like discouraged if like your students or like the kids you're looking after for like after school activities, if they don't like participate sometimes, because there's no one's ever like experienced this before, especially not kids that are like 18 or younger. It's weird and none of us really know how to process it. So for me, sometimes I kind of just like shut down and I don't really do anything. And it's not because I don't want to do anything, but it's just like I don't really understand what's happening. And sometimes I just need to stop and like think about it or do something else that might not be like super productive but makes me feel better. So like don't be discouraged if like the people you work with stop participating for a minute, because I do like get back into it. And, like I've done like the youth group stuff that my youth pastor has done, but I didn't really do it at first because I wasn't really feeling super motivated. Detailed advice, but just like don't be discouraged and be patient with people because everyone's trying to like process what's happening and like deal with it.
Well, everybody has a specific role in this world, and everybody's role is just as important as the other. Like their role could be like helping kids with depression or helping kids get out of the legal system. And at the time when we were having the actual meetings, I was a Wendy's worker. In retrospect, it's actually just as important because I'm serving others and so are they. We're all doing the same thing, but in a different aspect and a different level. So it's just everybody's role is important. Don't ever put yourself down as an individual because you're saying, oh, this guy gets paid more than me. I don't know why. It's not about money or anything like that. You're helping others. You're impacting people's life. And it's just making everyone's day, everyone's life a lot better and a lot easier.
Just try to be a nice person, I guess. Do something good every day.
I am troubled and hopeful. I wonder what lies in store for me. I hear the birds chirping distantly. I see what could become for me. I want a certain person for company. I am troubled and hopeful. I pretend I don't have the blues. I feel there might be something to lose. I touch the heaviness I carry under my shoes. I worry about what people to choose. I cry over the news. I am troubled and hopeful. I understand that soon there will be happiness. I say that I am restless. I dream for greatness and sweetness. I try to be less careless. I hope joy will be Instantaneous, I am troubled and hopeful.
The music that y'all heard throughout the video was created by all three young men. Josiah shared his talent on the guitar, Marlon played the violin, and Marquise, also known as Small Baron, provided tracks from his CD Isolation Peaks. Each one of these young men asked that as adults we need to have patience, especially through these difficult times. As adults, we often forget the struggles of being a teenager. With that said, the struggles of a teenager today are different than a teenager a decade ago. This is why having a youth at the table when decisions are made is vital in the successful of any program that serves youth. In this video, I was provided the opportunity to interview two parents whose lives have been forever changed by the criminal justice system in some way or another. I want you to take a moment and think about how you would feel if someone showed up at your door unannounced and took your child away. This is a reality for some parents. Thank you, Kelly and Richard, for openly speaking with me and sharing your voice with the group. At the end of the parent interviews, there is a brief slideshow showcasing youth, study circles, parents, and 6-word memoirs. We asked some youth and adults to contribute by writing 6-word memoirs for the slideshow. I bet you cannot figure out which memoir a youth or adult wrote. The participant was asked to write 6 words that describe them or describe themselves. They can be simple, funny, complicated. Again, please leave distractions at the door, per se, and listen to what is being said. What 3 words best describe you as a parent?
I think confidant, someone that my kids can come to if they really need to. Trusting, I've built a lot of trust, and I think probably trustworthy. My kids can trust me not to take things to the extreme, and that didn't used to be the way it was, but I think I trust them, and I think they trust me in return.
I would like to think I was a caring parent. Plus, I always try to do the right thing. And I try to make godly decisions in that thought process.
None of us are perfect parents, but we really try, right? What is your most proud accomplishment as a parent?
My most proud accomplishment as a parent is the fact that I have grown as a person. When my kids were younger, I was a single mom, and we were on welfare, and I was working 3 jobs, and my life was very stressful, and I just didn't have a lot of patience for my kids. And so I have grown as a person, and I have allowed them to express themselves as people and become who they want to be versus trying to force them onto a path. For a long time, I think I was pretty forceful in this is the way we're going to do things. This is how it's going to look. This is what we're going to do. And over time, with a lot of work on myself, I have backed off a little bit and allowed them to start expressing themselves as individuals and allowing them to individuate, and become the men that they're becoming.
I would like to think I always try to do the right thing through any situation. A lot of times that takes the ability to slow down and think about things and not make no rash decisions. Sometimes rash decisions aren't really the best decisions.
In dealing with kids who have experienced certain challenges, what is the most important lesson you have learned?
There again, the rash decision, you got to think that the kids are in a different thought process. They're not experienced knowledge-wise to make wise decisions sometimes. And I think you have to be understanding of how and why they do what they do. So you have to really, really be understanding. So And sometimes that's hard.
The boy's dad was incarcerated when they were younger, and it did come with a host of challenges. And him coming out of prison has come with a host of challenges as well. So reintegration and everything. I think the biggest thing that has come out of those challenges for me and for them was patience. You know, it takes time for people, and people don't process things the same way. So, you know, I may be ready for them to move on and, like, you know, let's get this figured out. But I learned that not everyone processes the same way, and those challenges require a lot of love and patience and listening, you know, having to really stop and listen to where they're at and respect that process.
How do you think you've been able to develop resiliency in your family?
I think God helps us a lot going to church. I mean, it gives you a thought of you're not alone. Even though you might be by yourself, we still have, I mean, God's with us everywhere. So I try to keep that on the forefront. Sometimes situations kind of tries to push that back, but you gotta just keep bringing it back.
I think that, you know, we have had a lot of challenges, and they have shown up in a variety of ways. In the schools, you know, I had a kiddo who started having problems in second grade, and they lasted through up to middle school. Middle school was pretty good, and then we had challenges again in high school. And I think starting to really talk with them about how their mistakes don't define them. They are not defined by the problems that they have, that they're inherently worthy and wonderful people, despite what may be showing up for them right now. And I think that I try to remind them. In fact, just this last weekend, I sent messages to both of them because, you know, we text a lot through communication, just reminding them that I love them and there's nothing they can do to mess that up with me. And I think that is one way that we have really developed resiliency as a unit, is to not take each other for our mistakes and look at who we are as people instead.
What advice would you give to other parents in similar situations?
The circumstances of our lives don't define who we are. You know, society can judge us and people can judge us, but you know, I think when we're showing up and doing our best, then that is what we have to offer, and we have to value that, and we have to acknowledge that. Sometimes we are just doing our best, and I think that we have to focus on what we are doing and not on where our shortfalls are all the time. I think we have to work on our shortfalls, definitely. We have to acknowledge them and we have to work on them. But we also have to focus on what's going well and start really, you know, because when I was a single mom on welfare and the boy's dad was gone, we were a tight little unit, you know, that was going well for us. We were very, very close. And so focusing on that instead of what's not going well, I think is probably the biggest piece of advice that I could give. And sometimes it feels like nothing's going well at all, but there's usually something that can be focused on that can grow and develop those relationships.
You can't base what happens on anything that like you did or what you would face, because you should be older and wiser. Well, I guess if another parent, they should be wise too. But I mean, everybody's different though. I mean, that's why we're all different. And we should all help each other when we can.
Despite the challenges, being a mom has been the best thing that ever happened to me. And I, know that my kids have let me grow into the person I was meant to be. they could hold it against me for, being short-tempered and hard to deal with when they were younger. And they remember it. It wasn't like they were little, they remember a mom that wasn't very calm and who probably yelled more than I should have. And, they allowed me the space to grow. So I'll be forever grateful for that as well.
Don't take things personally, because sometimes it's not about you. You have to just understand and think about whatever situation you're in and how you got there, and think of the best way out of it, because sometimes the quickest way isn't the best way.
Hoping to hug my family soon.
Wishing for sickness to go away.
We'll look back and just smile.
I feel good, happy, and safe.
Creativity is fostered by willing participants.
Glorious failures are best learning experiences.
What gets measured gets done, usually.
Still trying to figure it out.
Tomorrow is another day for greatness. I might as well try this.
As Josiah stated, we all have a role. What kind of role do you want to be in someone's life? The good, the bad, or the ugly? In the words of Marlon, just do something nice every day. In the words of Marquise, be patient, as we all need time to process. In the words of Richard, don't make a rash decision and don't take things personally, because sometimes it's not about you. In the words of Kelly, the circumstances of our life do not define who we are. Again, I'm overly grateful for each participant being open and allowing me to share their voice with you. Thank you.